With the changing climate conditions, days are more humid and you find yourself trying to cope. While some would go swimming or cool off with a fresh beverage, the go-to solution is a fan or air-conditioned unit for those who have access to one. Climate change alters our energy needs.
Energy sector is one of the greatest emitters of greenhouse gases. So what we're doing here at the unit is that we have set out goals to reduce those emissions.
With a mandate to plan, promote, and effectively use energy in order to reduce cost and risks to consumers, the goal of the energy unit is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Therefore, they undertake several projects to address just that.
Primarily, all of the work that we do is somewhat connected to climate change and the reduction of greenhouse gases and emissions. Primarily, we are working on projects such as e-mobility, which is electric cars for buses. So the reduction in the use of diesel, that reduces to less greenhouse gas emissions. We're working on rural electrification, which is basically bringing modern energy carriers to the household so they don't have to burn candles or kerosene lamps anymore. So all of these contribute towards the improvement of greenhouse gas emissions.
The government of Belize has allowed for duty-free importation of solar panels and green energy equipment. This is to encourage persons and companies to invest in renewable energy sources. In southern Belize, a group of women worked on installing solar panels and batteries to electrify remote communities. The Empowering Rural Electrification Project is part of the National Sustainable Strategy to provide access to modern and affordable electricity coverage.
Particularly the people of Medina Bank, Golden Stream, and Indian Creek, in which they are going to be the beneficiaries of electricity. Of course, electricity coming from the sun, solar electricity. So we're very grateful. It's a great project. Currently, the plant is about to begin construction, and we're hoping that around June, July, the plant is going to be commissioned, and the people of these three communities are going to enjoy the benefit of electricity.
All of the projects that we're doing right now are feasible, and we're actually already implementing some of these programs. For example, with the rural electrification program, we've already done one village. It's called La Grasa village. It's one of the most productive villages in terms of agriculture here in the Cayo district, but they didn't have any access to electricity. We brought in a microgrid, and they have now been reaping the effects of that type of modern energy carriers.
Our electricity was very poor because we had to use from our car, batteries, transformers to connect with electricity.
Siento de que es mucho más mejor ahora, ya que no tenemos que correr, ya que hasta allá abajo del cerrito aquí está el generador, había que correr y entonces está lloviendo y nadie quiere bajar porque se va a mojar para irlo a pagar, pero había necesidad de hacerlo. Ahora pues solo pagamos las luces y
$40 de gasolina a la semana.
a la semana.
Ajá.
¿Y ahora cuánto paga usted?
Pago $50 al mes.
While electricity usage is the first thing that comes to mind when you talk energy, fuel, namely premium and regular gasoline, diesel, and kerosene used in the transportation industry adds to the carbon footprint.
E-mobility, we've partnered with BEL to look to see how they can do public charging infrastructure to bring in private electric vehicles for the use. We're also partnering with the Department of Transport to see how we can get in electric buses for public transportation. That's already in its pilot phase. So we're designing those pilot phases right now, and we have allocations to test all these different pilot phases right now.
Liquefied petroleum gas, better known as butane, used in cooking also adds to greenhouse gas emissions. The energy unit, in accordance with the Paris Agreement, wants to reduce its GHG contributions.
We want to reduce from 950 gigagrams of CO2 emissions to reduce it by 19 kilotons every year. So those are ultimately goals that we have. We have other goals, such as in the electricity sector. Although we're mostly powered by renewable sources, such as hydro, biomass, We want to do an uptake in renewables, such as solar. We want to go from what's currently at 60% to 75%. We're also partnering with the Climate Change Office to structure these. But we also have to develop the different programs which are in adaptation and mitigation. So we're looking at the introduction of solar panels, which is reducing our uptake from Mexico, which is primarily fossil fuels, and reducing the amount that we produce from diesel. We're also looking at other infrastructure changes, such as the connection of Key-Corker to the national grid, so that Key-Corker will no longer have those diesel generators. So all of these are programs that not just us, but in conjunction with our partners, because we really wouldn't be able to do any of these projects in isolation. We're working with the Belize Bureau of Standards in implementing what's called standards and labels. Standards specifically speak to how efficient does an appliance need to be in order to be imported into the country. And what we're targeting right now are specifically lighting, such as your household light bulbs, fluorescent tubes, refrigerators, air conditioners. We want that the equipment that come in are not only of good quality, but ultimately save money and is a much better impact towards the environment.
All of these initiatives and projects being explored, some already in the implementation phase, contribute to the reduction of GHGs.
Relatively speaking, in sheer quantum, it is quite an amount, but globally speaking, it is very minuscule compared to the large developing countries such as the United States and China. But in a world where everybody's facing climate change, every little bit helps.